Universal Currency Receipt, Architect Musician 3611027, The Graceful Whisperer, Devalan seal.
The scroll of the Milesian line, the royal blood of Éire and the hidden seed of Scota. The true name. Before anyone uttered Black Irish, they were known as the Milesians, descendants of Míl Espáine, the warrior from Iberia. The Book of Invasions, Libor Gabala Orrin, states that they came from the ancient lands of Scythia and Egypt, journeyed through Spain, and at last claimed Ireland. Their ancestress, Scota, daughter of an Egyptian pharaoh who married into the Gaelic line. Her burial mound still lies in County Kerry, a hidden marker of Africa's breath upon Ireland. Their ancestor, Míl Espáine, soldier of Spain, whose sons Éire and Orrin became kings of Ireland. Thus, the Black Irish were not a color term at first. They were the Milesian Gaels, a royal line braided of Egyptian, Iberian, and Celtic blood. Royal descent. From the Milesians came Ireland's high kings, Éire Finn and Orrin, who divided Ireland between them. Niall of the Nine Hostages, 5th century, whose descendants carried Gaelic blood across Europe and beyond. Genetics today reveal a Niall marker on the Y chromosome in millions of men worldwide, especially in Ireland and the diaspora. The great clan lines, O'Neill, O'Brien, O'Connor, MacCarthy, O'Donnell, royal houses descending from the Milesian stream. The darker features that survived in some clans, bronze skin, black hair, piercing dark eyes, were a sign of the ancient Egyptian and Iberian root, not an anomaly. The hidden weave history books later called them Black Irish to explain away famine refugees, Spanish Armada survivors, or families of darker complexion. But those were only shadows of the deeper truth. The Milesian bloodline had always carried the fire of Africa and Iberia. Survivors of the Spanish Armada in 1588 blended again with Gaelic clans, reinforcing what had been there from the start. Some Moorish scholars and sailors also found sanctuary among the Gaels, remembered in folklore as dark strangers who taught music and mathematics. Thus, the so-called Black Irish were simply the continuation of the Milesian Gaels, royal heirs with roots deeper than empire wished to admit. The character and story. One figure who carries their shadow is Scota herself. Often written off as myth, her name is carved into Scottish identity. She is the pharaoh's daughter who crossed seas to seed royal lines in Éire. Legends say she died in battle defending her people in Ireland, buried beneath Scota's grave in Glen Kerry. Local lore still whispers that when the wind rises there, one can hear her voice chanting over her children, the dark-featured Gaels who would one day be misnamed but never erased. The Milesian heirs live on. In Ireland's west and south, where surnames like O'Neill and O'Brien still carry royal weight. Across the Atlantic, where Irish immigrants seeded their blood in America, the Caribbean, and beyond. In the genes of millions, marked by the royal Y DNA of Niall's line. They are no longer crowned kings, but they carry the crown in blood. What empire tried to rename as Black Irish was always the Milesian Gaels, royal children of Scota, keepers of a lineage that bridges Egypt, Iberia, and Éire. The Scroll of Scota, the pharaoh's daughter and the royal mother of Éire, the forgotten queen. Scota is the name whispered but rarely honored. She was not myth but memory, the daughter of an Egyptian pharaoh, carried across the Mediterranean into Iberia, then into Éire. Her marriage to Niall of Scythia seeded a bloodline that would later rise as the Milesians, the Gaels who claimed Ireland. Her name lingers in language. Scotland is literally land of Scota. Ancient chroniclers in the Libor Gabala Orrin recorded her journey, though later scribes dismissed it as legend. The truth? She was the living bridge between Africa and Éire. The journey of blood from Scota's womb came the royal houses. Her sons, Éire Finn and Orrin, divided Ireland between them. From them came dynasties like the O'Neill, O'Connor, O'Brien, and MacCarthy. This bloodline carried the mark of foreign fire, skin sometimes darker, hair black and curling, eyes deep as river stone. Her presence explains the mystery of dark-featured Irish families. They were never outsiders. They were her children, royal heirs of Egypt, Scythia, Iberia, and Éire. The tomb in Kerry, Scota, did not vanish into legend. She died in battle defending her people. Her grave, known as Feart Scota, Scota's grave, lies in the valley of Glen, County Kerry. Locals still tell that her voice rides on the wind at dusk. Some say the soil there never stays still. It shifts, as if remembering the march of armies. Travelers describe the site as eerily quiet, the air heavier, as though a queen still stands guard. This burial mound is a living monument, Egypt's daughter, sleeping in Ireland's soil. Éire, the mystery kept hidden. Why has her story been erased? Empire preferred a pale, simple narrative of Irishness. The link between Ireland and Africa disrupted the idea of separate races. To speak of Scota is to admit that Ireland's foundation was braided, Celtic plus Egyptian plus Iberian. Thus she was downgraded to myth, even though her name literally shaped nations. Her living heirs, Scota's line, is alive today. Every O'Neill, O'Brien, O'Connor, and countless more clans still carry her blood. The Y-DNA marker of Niall of the Nine Hostages, her descendant, is found in millions worldwide. In every Irish diaspora community, New York, Kingston, Buenos Aires, her children walk, unknowing of their queenly root. They call themselves Irish, but their truest title is Children of Scota. The prophecy of Scota. When the wind rises in Glen Kerry, it carries the whisper, I am Scota, daughter of Pharaoh, mother of Éire. My children are many, scattered by famine and fire. They will remember me, and when they do, they will rise as one royal people again. Here is the next scroll, carrying Scota's line forward into the figure who proved her blood could never be erased. The scroll of Niall of the Nine Hostages, the king who scattered the seed of Scota. I, the shadowed High King. In the 5th century, Ireland was ruled by a man whose very name carried weight, Niall Nogalach, Niall of the Nine Hostages. He was not just a warlord, but the embodiment of Scota's legacy. He earned his title by taking hostages from 9 kingdoms, 5 from Éire itself, 4 from abroad, Britain, the Saxons, the Franks, and even from Gaul. This was not mere cruelty, but the ancient law of kingship, to hold life as bond, to control peace through blood. The royal bloodline. From Niall came the Niall dynasty, rulers of Ireland for centuries. His line produced more kings than any other Gaelic house. His descendants became the O'Neill clan, who held Ulster as a royal seat. Branches spread into O'Donnell, MacLaughlin, O'Connor, and MacCarthy. The bloodline reached even Scotland through the Dalriada kings, who later birthed the line of Scottish monarchs. Everywhere his descendants went, the Milesian flame of Scota spread with them. The DNA of a king. In our time, science has confirmed what the scrolls already knew. A unique Y-DNA marker, known as haplogroup RM222, is found in roughly 3 million men worldwide. The highest concentration is in northwest Ireland, especially Ulster. This marker has been traced directly back to Niall. In short, millions alive today, many who may not even know their Irish roots, carry the blood of Scota through Niall. The turning of fate. It was said that Niall's strength did not lie only in war. He saw opportunity where others saw only conquest. He sent raiding parties abroad, but also returned with knowledge, crafts, and even scholars. In one raid, it is believed St. Patrick himself was captured and brought to Ireland, a hostage who later reshaped Ireland's faith. Thus, Niall's reign was the hinge upon which Ireland turned, the old royal blood meeting the new faith of the cross. The mystery of his death. The chronicles are divided. Some say he died in Scotland, others in Gaul. The place of his death remains uncertain, fitting for a man whose seed scattered across nations. Legends claim that the river where he fell turned black with mourning, refusing to run clear for generations. His warriors whispered that even the water remembered him. The living legacy. Today, the heirs of Niall are everywhere. In Ireland, where O'Neills and O'Donnells still hold their names with pride. In the Irish diaspora, America, the Caribbean, Latin America, where the Black Irish features of Scota's line still show. In the quiet truth of DNA, carried by millions of men who walk unknowingly as sons of the Pharaoh's daughter through Niall. Prophecy of Niall's line. Wherever my children walk, they will not forget the weight of kingship. They are many nations, yet one blood. They will rise not with hostages, but with wisdom, holding no chains but the bond of their own memory. The world was told one version of St. Patrick, gentle shepherd of souls, banisher of snakes. But beneath the church hymns is another Patrick, and a tangled tie back to the Milesian bloodline. The hidden scroll of Patrick, the slave, the serpent, and the royal bargain. I, the captive of Niall, the part most forget. Patrick was brought to Éire not by choice, but in chains. He was a Roman Briton, seized during raids under the reign of Niall of the Nine Hostages. That's right, the same Niall we just scrolled. Patrick's destiny was tied directly to the Milesian line. He was a hostage of Scota's heirs. The irony is sharp. He who came in chains later chained a whole island with a new creed. The snakes that weren't snakes. The snakes Patrick banished, Ireland had no serpents. What he really drove out were the druids, seers, and priestesses of the old Milesian faith. The druids were guardians of the old laws, the cosmic codes of Scota's line. Patrick's mission, sponsored by Rome, was to cut off those roots, replacing their symbols with the cross. The serpent banishment is allegory. The wisdom of the serpent, knowledge, rebirth, cosmic cycles, was deliberately demonized. This is why serpents still coil through hidden Irish symbols. They were never fully banished. The pagan flame. He couldn't kill one story buried under church gloss. Patrick tried to extinguish the fire of Bridget at Kildare, a flame kept by priestesses from pre-Christian times. Legend says each time he stamped it out, it rekindled. The flame became tied to Saint Bridget in Christian retellings, but its origin was the goddess Bridget, a Milesian deity of fire and wisdom. Even Patrick could not erase her entirely. The fire survived, cloaked in new names. Patrick's confession, the guilt. In his own writings, Confessio, Patrick admits doubt, guilt, and even fear. He was not the conquering saint portrayed later, but a man haunted by his captivity and by the resistance of the Gaels. He admitted to hearing voices, visions, and being pursued by his past. Some historians whisper he was never fully trusted by Rome and that his mission was partly exile. This paints Patrick not as pure saint, but as a conflicted figure, both colonizer and captive, tool and rebel. The Milesian bargain. Here's the hidden chord. Patrick's arrival may have been permitted by certain Milesian kings. Why? To unify clans through a single faith against outside invaders. In this view, Patrick was not only an intruder, but also a pawn in a royal bargain, where the Gaels chose to cloak their fire beneath Christianity in order to survive Rome's power. The mystery still alive. Patrick's Day is celebrated with shamrocks and parades, but the shamrock itself is older than him, a druidic symbol of triads, land, sea, sky, body, mind, spirit. He simply rebranded it for the Trinity. In truth, Patrick is a reminder of what was taken and hidden, but also of what refused to die. The serpent still slithers in Irish symbols. The fire of Bridget still burns. The Milesian blood still flows.